is under pressure to revamp its immigration policies following the deaths of hundreds of illegal immigrants off the Italian coast of Lampedusa. Many asylum seekers arrive in Europe via Italy or Greece and often end up in Germany, hoping to start a new life. But as Jessica Soltz and Anne Meyer report, Berlin is far from an El Dorado for illegal immigrants. What's more, the German government is reluctant to reform the system. Let's find out why.
A derelict school in the Berlin district Kreuzberg. More than 200 people live here, mostly asylum seekers. They've been here for over a year. They say the living conditions in the refugee reception centres are even worse. This man from Mauritania first set foot on EU soil in Greece. Moving from one country to the next, his search for freedom turned into a nightmare. He asked to remain anonymous.
Before I arrived, I didn't know very much about the way things work here. Freedom and democracy are just empty words. You can see for yourself what it's like here. We're living under really difficult conditions. The countries differ, but the system is the same. How can I describe it to you? You can stay here, but you're not allowed to move. Stay right there. What kind of freedom is that?
By coming to Berlin, he's breached German law. Here, asylum seekers are not allowed to work or to travel freely around the country. But anything's better than the interminable wait in the reception centres. At the foot of Berlin's Brandenburg Gate, 30 or so asylum seekers went on a hunger strike. They'd walked all the way from the south of the country and drew a lot of media attention. They crossed the Mediterranean to get to Europe and called their protest camp here Lampedusa in Berlin.
It's no good waiting for people to die like they do at Lampedusa and then to say we should give those dead people papers. No, it's good to recognize the dead, but what about the people who are still alive, the ones who are still in danger?
The refugees at the Brandenburg Gate ended their hunger strike last Saturday. The authorities promised to swiftly settle their applications, but their chances of getting a residency permit are slim. The European Agreement Dublin II says that the first EU country an asylum seeker enters is responsible for their asylum application. Due to its geographical position, this serves Germany rather well, and the Interior Minister doesn't want this to change. Yet Germany has the highest number of asylum seekers in Europe, more than 85,000 applications since January this year. But the figures need to be put into context, say human rights organisations.
First of all, you can't compare Germany to Luxembourg or Malta. If you consider the figures in relation to the size of Germany's population and to the country's economic situation, you could say Germany is probably only 10th or 11th on the list of EU countries.
There are now calls in Europe and in Germany for asylum applications to be better distributed across Europe. The issue will be part of the current coalition talks here, as the parties are locked in negotiations over the next government. The opposition has already promised to pile on the pressure.
It's not an Italian problem or a French or German problem. It's a European issue and we have to confront it. When we talk about solidarity in Europe, that includes refugees too. The Dublin II agreement completely undermines that, and in my opinion, it's a rejection of what Europe is all about.
In Germany, more than 80% of asylum requests are rejected every year.
Time for a bit of sports now, starting with football and the European playoffs draw for the 2014 World Cup.
In football, the World Cup playoff draw in the European qualifying section was made in Zurich on Monday, with France facing a two-legged tie against Ukraine next month. France beat Ukraine in last year's European Championship